GHL Wizard here, and now it is time to go over the 3 automations, okay, that are killer for service-based businesses if you are a SaaS owner or an agency owner. Okay, this shit is going to be excelente. I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you how to do it, and walk you through it. But first, please smash that sub button, smash the like button if you have any questions at all. Okay, you can message me for free on Facebook Messenger, okay, completely free, or, okay, you can drop a comment and I will answer it, okay? So either or is good to go. Without further ado, let us jump right in and go over this. So put your belt on, tighten your britches. We're about to dive into the world of automations. So the first automation we are going to do is going to be sending review requests. Okay, so you're going to come right in here, you're going to create workflow. And with this, we're not going to start from scratch, okay, because there is a recipe on this. So we're going to click select recipe. You're going to go all the way down. By the way, there's an automations tab on GoHighLevel dashboard. We're going to come right up here to recipe, send review request, and we're going to click select. Okay. So before this pops up, I got a little slide because I love not just showing the what, but I love showing the why. Okay, the how, what, and why, because that is what helps you get this fully ingrained so you can really make money with this. So let's jump in and explain this a little more in depth. So this is a GoHighLevel automation, which is sending Google review requests. So review request automation is valuable because it makes asking clients for feedback easy and hassle-free. Instead of manually reaching out, the automation sends requests automatically after a service. When a client leaves a review on Google, it boosts your local SEO, making it more likely that new customers will find your business online. This shows potential clients that you're trusted and reliable, helping you attract more local customers and grow your business. Guys, local SEO, a huge part of it is getting reviews. You can automate this process. Okay, so you can it's a machine. And if you run the machine, they have to pay you for it. And if they leave, well, they get smacked, okay? Because they're losing out on this awesome, service. So this is huge because you're automating a huge part of local SEO, and reviews are so gosh darn important. Okay, like this is a huge part of it. So let's jump in and let's create this. Okay, so now that we're in here, okay, there's a couple different things you can do. Okay, so first is defining the triggers, like we talked about in the other video. This is the beginning of the sequence. So you're going to have some opportunities built out or stuff with calendars built out or any tagging built out already before this. So I recommend you go do that. I have videos on that too, just so you understand what's going on. I watch my full in-depth tutorial to understand a lot of this stuff. But first, you need the trigger. So you can do an opportunity marked as 1. So what I would like to do is usually create something where this would be like, you just sold them on something. So invoiced, they just got invoiced or work just got done. So if it's like a project in your pipelines where you're doing the work for them, and remember, this is going to be kind of weird because this is for different service-based businesses. So you're going to have to know their process and plug it in. Every service-based business is different. But once the job is done, the work is done, and you have this all automated in the workflows, appointments, all this good stuff. And there's multiple triggers. By the way, you can get rid of any of these. You kind of custom tailor this, but the heavy lifting is already done because this recipe is already built. You just have to plug and place. This is a really great automation that you can just plug in and you're done. So to automate this, you pick basically what your trigger is going to be, and that can be a multitude of different things. I would always like to say stuff like if it's a call, you can do appointment marked as showed, so that's basically like a consultation. But depending on certain stuff in pipelines, making sure that once the job is done, so the tag is done or gets triggered as completed, whatever that may be, retainer role, landscaping, law firm, whatever, once that is done, it's immediately going to go in and send an SMS or review request. Now, you can switch this to email, just depending on what you're doing. You don't have to have this be SMS request, but I do recommend, that you do both, but I sometimes like to send 2 emails. So you can leave this the way it is, but I sometimes like to juice it up a bit. So first thing is basically after you define the trigger, which you have to figure out what it is for the service-based business, just figure that basic point and you just click it to edit, simple as that. You're then going to basically get this built out. So you come right here and you just click this, it'll take you to another page, and that's how you'll create exactly what message you want to send. And there's templates and all this other good stuff. So it can be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Can you please, leave me a review, blah, blah, blah. Super simple. Use ChatGPT. It's a breeze. So that's the first step, is defining that automation. Then you want to wait. So right after the first trigger sequence, it sends the automation. Now, what you do is you most likely wait for 60 minutes or more. But once that happens, this will then trigger another sequence. Okay. So then that'll be basically a review sent out. Same thing. You come right here, you click, or you click in here, reputation settings, and it'll take you and you'll be good to go. If they have not left a review, okay, and you kind of work that out where you set this up so when they do, it'll shut down, you can add another sequence. So another email being sent, and basically, and you can even come right in here and copy and just have the same exact thing. Copy here, right there, and you have the same exact thing happening again. Just depends on how crazy you want to get with it. I'm just going to delete this really fast. But the idea is you basically find the sequence with the trigger and you automate this entire process very easily by clicking in, and you can pick more time. That way, this entire thing gets automated. So once the job gets done, as opposed to you running review campaigns and bothering people, this is already built out, which is huge. So it's really simple. You just come in, you find what trigger it is. You have to talk to the client or figure out what it is, plug it in, make sure it's connected. Set up your SMS. If you don't have SMS, just use email. Email's awesome. So make sure you have some sort of communication. You can add other stuff too, like I believe, let's come in here. Communication, send email, send an SMS, call, voicemail, messenger. Big one there too. You can drop a message. Huge. Instagram DM. There's all kinds of stuff. And I don't want you guys getting like, oh my God, this is so much shit. But you can add so many cool things to this to help it be that much better. So just make sure you understand that, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff you can plug in to make this a whole lot better. So that's really the first part, is adding that. And then from there, it's just defining the other one and you're good to go. Waiting and you're good to go. So it's as simple as that. So rewatch this part if need be. But once you have that, the automation is done. Then after the automation is done, you always test the workflow. You're going to click this and you're going to select the contact you want. And that's before you published it. So make sure you always, once you build everything out, you test and make sure it's working. Especially when you do this for said client, create a dummy, contact to test, because the last thing you want is to be like, oh, I set up an automation and it doesn't work, and then they send it out to a bunch of people and you just wasted money on emails and a bunch of shit. So make sure that you test your workflow when you are done. So as always, if you have any questions about this process, drop it in the comments below or message me on Facebook Messenger, because I know this is more in depth. But now it is time to move on to automation number 2, which will be client onboarding. Okay, this is a good one. This one does get a little tricky because there's multiple different ways you can do this, and we will be starting from scratch. So we're not going to be using a recipe for this one, but this really depends on their onboarding process. Some companies don't really have a big onboarding process, so the need won't be like that important. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. But I will say that this can be a gold mine. I mean, this is, if you have clients with a complicated onboarding process, like a lot of roofing companies, and switching leads and doing all this stuff and asking reviews, you can literally automate everything. I mean, shit, you can even throw in asking for a review. Now, that's the whole point of automations, is you can just automate these annoying things. You can even do this for yourself, where you just automate each sequence so it's hands off, but once the payment goes, it's all triggered and you're good to go. So we're going to go to create workflow. Okay, we're not going to do select a recipe. We're going to do start from scratch. Okay, make sure you name this. Step 1, we will do onboarding 1. Now you name it whatever you want. I suggest putting the client's name in here. But as always, before we go into this, I want to pull up a slide to explain this more so it's thoroughly in your head. Let's check it out. So, client onboarding automation. So the client onboarding automation simplifies welcoming new clients. Once they sign up, it automatically sends a welcome email with key information, including what to expect, payment links, and options to schedule calls or fill out forms. This ensures timely communication, making clients feel valued, and saves you time, creating a smooth transition for everyone. This is big for people that do a lot of volume, that have a finicky setup process. So this can send forms to get signed up on. This can basically automate exactly where they need to go, what they need to fill out. Like if it's once you sign a contract, and I'll show you in a second, it just gets rid of all that. So this may not be super important for certain people, okay, but this can be huge for a lot of clients just because there's so many little things you can do. Especially if people have obnoxious onboarding where they have to do all this stuff like consultations and this, and you have to sign this, and you have to check out this, and then you have to sign up with this. This will just ease that. And I really am telling you, this is a huge money maker for certain industries where you can just juice the living hell out of this and make a lot of money. So let's dive in and create. So step number one in onboarding is just adding that first trigger. So what I would always do, and this can be two different things. This can be payment received or documents and contracts. So what I like to do is add documents and contracts too, because that's a great one. And then let's see, we can also add payment received. I sometimes do that after. So it just depends on how their process works. It can be sending one after the other, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to put both down. Where is it? Let's do payment received, add new trigger. Why am I missing this? Payment received. Okay, the whole goal is once you have that initial thing set, so when they send that email after, they're warmed up, then from there, immediately, once they are done, you basically want to trigger the sequence out. So first, when they sign the contract or they pay, it immediately goes into onboarding them. So every onboarding system is going to be different for service-based businesses, but I kind of want to give you a rundown of what you can do to make this much better. So what I would do is I would update contact field, okay, and you put whatever in there that you want, which would be lead. Let's do that. I'm just putting stuff for the sake of the video. Let's just see. I would come in here, and then I would basically add a tag to just be like they're done, dusted, they're onboarded. So you could call that. I'm just clicking this. That's not the right thing, but the idea is you just want to create a tag and put it in. So that's the SaaS onboarding link, but for this it would be let's say client onboarding. So immediately they get tagged as onboarded, so in the system now they're in a different list. And then from there, any other actions that you would need to do, whether that's putting them on Messenger, a big thing too. If you have like next steps and a bunch of stuff like that, I would do send email, okay? Because what you want to do is you want to basically immediately have that whole thing go out so they know exactly what to do. So come in, you put, the from name, subject, you fill out all this good stuff. And then immediately, once this all happens, it's triggering the sequence. So they're going to add a tag, they're getting an email with next steps. Hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? Plug in here. This is what you'll expect. This is the time frame. And then also, if you have SMS set up, you can also send an SMS. So fill that out. And then from there, you're getting basically two different messages being completely automated in. So once that gets started, it just pumps them through the pipeline and then moves them. So there's a million different ways to do this. I'm giving you the very rough version just because every service-based business is different, but this is the main concept. Once it triggers, they get payment received or they sign a contract, you can do all this other stuff with next steps so that they know exactly what to happen, where to contact you, maybe even send them a scheduling link, like here's when you schedule your call to be completely done and whatnot. And this can be different for every industry. But then also, depending on the service-based business, just come in here and add any other things you would need basically for onboarding that industry would need. That way you can just have it completely set up, completely done, and it just goes right through. You can remove from workflow too, get them out of that system. So it goes right into just being not a lead, but a client. Yeah, simple as that. And there's so much stuff you can do, guys. I'm only scratching the surface. I'm just showing you the basics of onboarding. And this is a more complex one because there's so much different stuff. But so many businesses have simple stuff like this where if you can just automate, payment going out, contracts going out, email being sent, tag being updated, like just that little bit, that saves them so much time. Especially if in the pipeline section, as soon as someone is closed. So, hey, you ready to go? Okay. We'll sell you as soon as someone just goes and clicks done, this whole sequence will just launch, which is awesome. Because if you have a client that, and you're a salesperson that closes them, instead of them digging up emails, sending something, it's a waste of time. They just click, the trigger link, like, okay, and you can do other triggers here. There's a million of them, like lead is now sold. This whole sequence will just, send email, send payment, send contract, all this stuff, and then it just does all the work for you. So this is absolutely killer if you're trying to automate that process. And all businesses have an onboarding sequence. So just find ways to dig into whatever clients you have and automate this, and they will pay you all the time. And that's why this is so critical, because if you can onboard people smoother and faster, you're saving them time. And when you save people time, they pay you big bucks for it. So that is the onboarding sequence in a nutshell. Now let us move on to last but not least, list or database reactivation. This is a big one, okay? I do want to say there's a million other automations, guys, like a bazillion. And if you have any questions, I know this is a longer video, just drop them in the comments below, because this is a more expansive vid. But there is so many different automations you can do, so many. These are just some that are excellent for service-based businesses right off the bat, because they can, add a lot of value, and they're relatively simple to do. But database reactivation is pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie. So you come to select a recipe right up there. I'm going to come right down here. Scroll down. Where is it? Aha! Recipe list reactivation. So this is a big one. You'll see it's a Christmas tree of automations built out. And this is awesome for so many reasons, because this is basically a way to take an email list and just juice it and squeeze it for every dollar. And a lot of people have lists. This is this point I'm trying to break to SaaS and agency owners. Like, guys, these people have lists that aren't even used. You can set up an automation where it looks like you're doing a bunch of work, and you'll get a ton of clients from that, like a ton of free clients. So as always, let's jump on to my slide to explain this a little more in depth before I show you how to do it. So list and database reactivation. So a database reactivation in GoHighLevel is a game changer for service-based businesses, because it uses AI to reach out to clients who haven't yet engaged in a while, all with zero ad spend. Okay, this is free leads. You're just tapping into what's already there if they have a list. By automatically sending personalized emails or SMS messages, you can bring back past clients without paying for ads, effectively generating free leads. This helps you boost sales and grow your business without extra costs. It's this idea of so many businesses have lists that are just not being used. So for you, it's like, while you're doing a bunch of stuff on the front end with local SEO and ads and websites, you can just come in and be like, hey, let me have your list and let me work some magic. And right there, you can just start juicing it. Now, for certain industries, this might be a little different. Like, as a law firm, like, their problem is solved. So you have to look at the industry and be like, okay, this makes sense. But for a lot of people, hair salons, chiropractors, lawn care, snow removal, roofing, like so many of these, you can use it. And you can also use this for promo offers, which is so big. And you just blast and you let it do all of the work. So this is huge, and I'm super pumped to go into this. But this one's more complicated, so get ready and take notes. So with this, you basically first want to have the list. Okay, so step number one is basically jumping in and having that and then working it. So once you have the list, you basically want to put a tag on that list. So it is, group of previous landscaping clients. I have other videos I'm tagging, so just make sure you go in and use that. It's pretty simple. You just add a tag and you add it to your entire list. So first, you want to have that, and then you're going to want to basically pick the tag, okay? And the thing is I have a bunch here, but you want to add what tag, and that will summon all of the people in that list. So there might be some shitty people in that list, so you want to get rid of those and then just have the tag apply to all of the best people. So once you have that fully juiced, all you then have to do is basically have all the premium people and move on to step number two. So really, first step is just for the trigger, having that list. So once you have that list plugged in and they're all tagged with new clients, you move on to step number two, which is hitting them with that text. You can do email if you don't have text set up, but that's basically your offer, what you're doing. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Can I help you? Hey, 40% off this week. Hey, we have a new snow removal. You name it. Whatever the offer is, whatever you're trying to do, get people back in, asking for referrals. You're hitting the list with this entire sequence. So you're going to come in here and you're just going to want to build out exactly what you want to do. Hey, contact first name, and plug in all of this stuff, and then you are good to go. As always, if you're trying to figure out ways to what is the word? Create really good copy. ChatGPT will always save you. So that's really the first step, is creating that good message, creating something juicy, and just plugging in. So plug it in. Then you're going to want to wait an hour. Okay. And what this is going to do is this is just going to wait and see who replies yes, no, maybe, and whatnot. So this is where it gets really dope, because this is a bunch of stuff with AI. And they have stuff built in to tell on responses and other really awesome things. But the first step is basically segmenting the people that come back. So this is for people that reply. Yes, I'm interested. I love it. Or, there's some sort of movement like, oh, cool. This will be basically for people that didn't really do anything at all. Okay. So, and you can add, maybe they did, or maybe they said fuck off, whatever. But that's where they get segmented. So first it's good leads and then bad leads. So immediately all the good leads are getting funneled to one side, and all the leads that aren't responding are getting funneled to another. Now let's quickly, we'll go through this in a second, but we'll go back through this one, and then we'll go through the no's. So first with the yeses, what's going to happen, and this is where the AI comes in, you're going to get basically different types of yeses. So people are like, yes, I want that. That's cool. And the AI will read it and figure it out, so you know exactly what to do. That's why it says if reply was positive, no, basically like, yeah, I'm not interested. And then you just figure out exactly what you want to do for that. And guys, like I said, you're going to have to do a little thinking. Okay, you're going to have to know exactly what the service-based business wants, and you're going to have to plug that stuff in so this works. You can't just set this up willy-nilly. You have to think about exactly what you're offering. But once that goes in, basically, that just takes them down to no, you're not interested. And then it's going to have a follow-up SMS where you can do no worries, or if you're bold, you can be like, are you sure? And then have maybe an even bigger percent, like 35% off. Get clever with it. Or you just do no worries, and then those leads are done. So they're pulled out of the gene pool, so to speak. If they say yes and they show positive intent and they're like, oh yeah, cool, and you can add all kinds of really great conditions and or if then that, all kinds of stuff. You just go, whatever it is, you just plug it in. But from that, it's going to basically lead them to the next steps. So that's a next message. That's be the next message for basically onboarding them, and that's where you can build out an entire onboarding sequence right here. Okay, you can send them really clever. This is where it gets awesome. Like if they like it, you can send them payment info, you name it. It's whatever has to happen next for you to make money. So that's really important that you dedicate a ton of time to this, because this is how you're going to make the money with this. And it's critical that you understand this, because with this, the way that funnel is dialed in will directly correlate to how many people get kind of pushed through. So from there, if it's like, hey, ready to start, just click this link, and then it takes them, that's perfect. But you want to make those next steps really clear. Be clear, not clever. But from there, that'll just take them right through, and then they're golden. And basically, if you build that up the right way, where it sends them an invoice or gets them plugged in or whatever, books a call, whatever the business is looking for, you're good to go. Simple as that. This part is done. From there, it's just working the leads. You see how awesome this is? It's a system that's just working the leads for you. Then on this side, okay, if they say no and they don't show any interest, and you can add all kinds of filters, you want to send them another message. So you can use this or another thing. Hey, just checking back. And you can put a time limit too, an hour, 2 hours. Hey, just curious, because oftentimes people just don't get the message. And that's why this is so important. So you basically want to, hey, what's going on? Hey, what are you doing over there? You just want to basically probe them one more time, wait for the reply. Then just like over here, it's going to be the same sequence where if they really are like, no, fuck off, I'm not interested. Yes, they show positive intent. It does the same thing. And what you can literally do right over here, if you build out a whole sequence, you just click these three dots, copy, actually you have the same exact automations on both sides. So you have an entire funnel sequence built out where it takes the leads, it nurtures the leads. If they say no, it hits them again. If not, it just categorizes them. It takes all the bad leads, puts more. You can even add tags like a bad lead, which usually just click one of these and do add contact tag, which is great. And from there, it's just going to lead them right down, which is huge. I mean, this will literally make a business so much money if you set this up right. And that's why I brought this up, because it's all automated and it looks like you're doing a bunch of work. And you can let them know, yeah, I'm sending all these messages, I'm doing all this work and automation. And it makes you look like you're doing a lion's job, where you're getting lion's pay, which is what you fucking want. And you're really not doing very much. This is leverage. This is the big, juicy L word, is leverage. And this is how you do it. You set up the system so it does the work for you. So, as always, if you have any questions at all on any of this stuff, just message me. Automations are infinite. You can do so much with it. It's so awesome. I absolutely love this stuff. As you see, I'm fucking nerding out over here, geeking out. But it's because it's so powerful and you can make so much money so easily doing it. So that's in a nutshell, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Any questions at all, drop them down below or message me on Facebook. By the way, if you are interested in high level and you are interested in this stuff, I can show you more of this stuff for free, help you free, give you courses, all this stuff. If you use my 30-day free trial link down below for Go High Level, it's right down there. You can click it, get started, and I can show you some next steps. But also, if you ever just have any questions, just drop them down below. And as always, please, please subscribe. From the bottom of my heart, just please subscribe. Because I got more awesome videos coming out like this, and I'm really here to help you. So you just let me know what other questions you have. Drop them down below, and I will see you in the next video. GHL Wizard, out.